All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video, and I'm hoping to make at least 3 videos like this, addressing all of the 3 things that we're not supposed to glory in, according to the book of Jeremiah, the 9th chapter and the 23rd verse. So I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to get into the first one that I'd like to address. This is Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23. Thus saith Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yahweh. Right? So we're not supposed to glory in our wisdom, our might, or our riches. And the first thing that I wanted to address in this video, because as far as this society goes, it's the main one that people glory in, is going to be riches, right? So I'm going to try and speak about the day of the Lord and all of the different hypothetical yet very real scenarios that people may face, and then question whether money is going to be able to get you out of these situations, right? How is money going to get you out of these things, right? So let's go to Amos chapter 5 and verse 18. Amos chapter 5 and verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light. So a day that's complete darkness and not light. How is money going to save you out of this time? Now, many people don't actually still yet understand that the financial playing field of the world is getting ready to be completely changed. It's not going to be the same as it is now. Right? It's already changed anyway, to where back in the day, money used to be paper. Now over here in the UK, anyway, it's plastic, right? But it's getting ready to be the time on the earth where you never actually see this thing that people call money. You never actually see it. It's just an invisible thing that you either have or you don't have, and it's all going to be digital credits on a screen that you have them technically digitally on a screen, but then you don't have them as well, just kind of like the stock market, right? On the stock market, when you have your money on a you have your portfolio and the amount it's worth, right? Okay, if it says you're down this amount or it says you're up this amount, it's all one in the same, because you don't actually physically have any of the stuff anyway. You don't actually physically have anything, right? And if you decide to sell, then okay, you might have lose or gain depending on whether you was up or down, right? Just like how when it comes to this digital system that's getting ready to be put in place, okay, you technically could be worth 50,000 on your digital screen, 100,000, 50, 100. You could be in a minus, right? But depending on how whether you're prepared to be a good or bad citizen, according to what a society that's corrupt and wicked decides a good or bad person, right? Then your credits could be worth nothing or could be worth a lot. So with the system that they're getting ready to put in place, a person that's technically considered poor could be made rich instantly. And with the CBDC system, where the money is going to be something that expires, right? Well, it's not really going to be much to them to make a person rich, that if they're prepared to do certain things that they want them to do and then take it away again. It's not difficult. It's not going to be difficult for them to do that. It's going to be very easy. It's going to be very easy, man, because they can just restrict. They can give people money and then restrict the amount of things that they're able to do with that money. And then in them doing that, the person could technically never be able to spend the amount of money that they're supposedly giving them anyway. Like, that would be very easy to do. Okay, you've got 10,000 credits a month that you can spend, which would be the equivalent of today's £10,000, but you're only allowed to buy these particular type of items with it, because you have not yet proven that you're worthy to buy these higher level luxury items, because your carbon output's too high or too low or too whatever we say. So you cannot buy these things yet. So then that person with that 10,000 credits that might be able to buy cars and all these other things, well, they're not allowed to. They still have to buy a lesser grade car, which don't cost no one as much than the person's really looking at these so-called credits, hoping for the day that they get to spend a certain amount of money. But if they decide that that day is never going to come, then it will never come. Oh, you can only buy these amount of types of food, and you're restricted to buying a certain amount of food anyway. So your 10,000 credits, you're not really ever allowed to buy 10,000 credits a month for food. You're only allowed to buy 2,000 a month for credits of food. And then the food's going to be of such low quality and fake anyway, that to them it don't really matter how much of it you buy, but they're still going to want to restrict you anyway, just to have control over you. Money's not going to mean nothing in that day, right? The money's not going to mean nothing, man, because it's going to be so fake that everyone can have it. Everyone's going to be able to have it. Just the fact when universal basic income gets pushed out on the earth, that's going to mean that everyone is on the same base level. Whereas how the society goes right now, that's not the way it is. Everyone's not on the same base level. But when they bring in the universal basic income, the worst level that anyone can be on is going to be set according to whatever that universal basic income amount is. If they make it higher, then the base level that a person is going to be higher. If they make it lower, then the lowest level that a person should be able to be on is going to be a lower level. But the money is becoming so fake and fraudulent that you're like, man, what's going on around here? Like, if you pay attention to any, like, one thing that if you pay attention to the stock market thing and you just look at it, you're like, raw. So a couple of weeks ago, it was this high, and now it's this high. But then one or two few things happen in the news, and then it somehow reached damn near back to the exact value that it was, and higher. That seems planned to me. And then all the people that bought it at the higher value, right, while it was decreasing in the lower value, unless they've got more money to put in it to bring it down to the value close to the value that it went down to, they've got to now wait and hope that it reaches back to that value again just to get their money back. While as the people that bought it at the lower value when it decreased have now got all the time in the world to wait for those people that they know bought it at a higher value and just keep making money from it, from the lower value all the way to the point where it reaches the value that they would want to sell it at. And then it might go past that value. It's like the whole thing, when you look at it, you're like, man, this is not a fair field to try and make money. It's rigged. It's a rigged playing field, man. That the people that own the majority can play around and manipulate things to be able to win. Amos chapter 5 and verse 19, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. If you're running from a lion, just picture hypothetically, you don't have to go too crazy. Just picture hypothetically you're running from a lion, right? Is there any amount of money you can throw at a lion that's going to make it be like, oh, you should have said I would have stopped trying to eat you. You should have said you was going to give me some money. I would have stopped trying to eat you. No, there's not an amount of money you can bribe a lion with to get it to not want to eat you, right? Now, what about if you're running from a bear, right? Is there any amount of money that you can give to a bear to make the bear not want to eat you anymore? No, there isn't, right? Or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. You can't play with the serpent for money. And the day of the Lord is comparable to this. So when it comes time, money is not going to be a thing that people can bribe people with. Because what if people did with their money right now in this world? They've got themselves a nicer house, a nicer apartment, some nicer food, a nicer car, right? But in a time where people are stealing, that don't mean anything no more. The amount of money you have now does not mean anything because nobody's wanting to pay anyway. So the trading of money for goods and services goes out the window because now people have got another way to get them. It's through theft. So then your money now becomes worthless because everybody else is stealing the things that you once upon a time could have paid for and bought legally. They're going to be getting these things the illegal way. And then some of you people might say, oh, but the police will arrest them. In this situation that I'm talking about, when the world gets to the way I'm speaking about right now, right, the day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh's wrath, the police are going to be stealing too. In fact, they're not going to regard themselves as police anymore. They're going to regard themselves as the individual that they are. They're going to regard themselves as them, me. They're going to be saying, I'm me. I'm not no officer. I'm me. I'm in this police uniform, but that's because that's just a uniform I was in when it went down. And they might manipulate and use their police uniform to try and get one over on people in certain situations. But they're not going to be playing by police officer rules, because some of them don't play by police officer rules now. Some of them are corrupt and dodgy now. Never mind when all hell breaks loose. Some of them are wicked now, man. Some of them don't play by the rules in life right now. To be honest with you, some of them are going against the grain on things that they do right now. So how much more when all hell breaks loose, man? How much more then? How much more then, man? Right? Now let's carry on. Shout out the day, verse 20. Shout out the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it. And the money thing in this world, man, like it really is one that allows people to get one over on people. Because let's say there's a person with talent, they're a talented musician, talented fighter, and somebody with money comes over and talks about, oh, I'd like to be a promoter, I'd like to be a manager. Because they've got money and that person wants money, they're able to now get them on a contract that might be dodgy as hell. Like I remember back in the day, there used to be the story going around where the manager of the band, the boy band NSYNC, wrote themselves in the contract as the sixth band member, but they wasn't singing and shaking at themselves like Justin Timberlake and the rest of them. They were just standing back, whatever, doing whatever, man. But they wrote themselves in as the sixth band member. So they was getting a larger percentage without having to do no singing, no dancing, no spinning, no Baby Bye 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 or whatever the hell their songs were. I think Baby Bye 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 was an NSYNC song, right? They wasn't having to Baby Bye 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 nothing around here. There was Baby Bring Me That Money. That's what they was doing. Same thing with the managers of these fighters. They don't have to get no jabs to the face. They don't have to get no leg kicks. They don't have to get put in a guillotine and figure out how to get out of the guillotine. They don't have to get put in no DAS choke. They don't have to roll around and hit a sprawl and avoid takedowns. They don't have to avoid arm bars. They don't have to avoid right crosses by people that have been throwing 1,000 right crosses in a gym for decades on. They don't have to worry about none of that. But yet they be getting them money, and people are talking about after they finish a fight, it's whatever my promoter wants next. But the promoter ain't fighting nobody. The promoter couldn't fight to save his life a lot of the time. But they're just sitting back, getting all this money, talking up for the fighters when they would never fight themselves. And they don't need to either. But in the time to come, some of them promoters are going to be hunted down by fighters that they screwed over. And we're like, yo, you put me on a 50% contract back in the day. I want revenge. Some of them are going to be hunting down their former promoters, man. I could picture that. Some of these disgruntled fighters, like a dodgy guy like Don King or something like that. Some of his former fighters would hunt him down. And I remember there's a story going out there where Don King must have hustled Muhammad Ali or something like that. And he was supposed to give Muhammad Ali, don't quote me on this story, but this is a story that I've heard. And it sounds like something that could be true. And I got another story about this guy as well after this. So the story of Muhammad Ali goes like this from what I remember. He was supposed to give Muhammad Ali $1 million, right? But he said, yeah, but people that are from the hood though, people that are from like black people and that they'll be more impressed by 50,000 in a suitcase than $1 million written on a check. So he ended up giving him 50,000 as opposed to $1 million. Now, whether this was Muhammad Ali that this happened to or not, these are the kind of stories that, and the kind of ways that they rich people, hustle people, man, they're scumbags, right? They're scum. Now, there's also a story of what Don King did to Mike Tyson, by where he wrote in on Mike Tyson's funding for his boxing camps that he would spend $100,000 a month on towels. So he was writing down, oh yeah, the champ needs 100,000 on towels, but obviously you weren't spending no 100,000 on towels because you can wash the towels. You can buy you can buy. Let's say you bought 10 towels, right? That were $1,000 each, right? That's what, for $10,000 of towels, right? And then buy the most expensive detergent. That's gonna be what, 100, let's say. That's 10,100. So why the hell would there be some 100,000 on towels, man? That's absolutely ridiculous. But he was obviously stealing the money, obviously. And that's the thing with these rich guys, man. They get into the financial things, and then they figure out ways on how to hustle people, shaving money off people's pay, trying to not pay their workers, their employees on time, right? Hustling them, gambling company funds. When that them loans, which they ended up calling it, they ended up calling them BBL loans, you know, them during the C-119. When them loans came out, right? Plenty of people ended up losing their whole company and losing the ability to ever run a company again for decades, because they wanted to try and think that there was some tycoon, man, trying to hustle things. They wanted to try and hustle things and try and think they could try and come up during the lockdown, man. And now they can't run a company. But anyway, let's go to this, because I want to see how you people think your money's gonna be able to get you out of this type of scenario in the world. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So picture a scenario where everyone is picking up a weapon that they are using as a sword, as something to defend themselves in some way. Some of them could be a sharp object. Some of them could be a blunt, hard object, right? A bat, a piece of wood, a plank of wood or something, a baseball bat, a mallet, all kinds of things, right? A wooden object, a broomstick handle, right? A world where everyone's walking around like this, right? Everyone, not just your neighborhood scumbag. Everyone, the so-called good person's doing it as well, because they're like, I'm not about to be a victim out here. I've got our children and people that I need to protect in my house. Picture a world where even the women are trying to bolden themselves to try and do it as well. Obviously, they're going to have their physical limitations, but they're still thinking about it though. Just picture that, right? For there shall be, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men. No one's listening to what the leaders in charge are saying anymore, right? And invading one another, people invading other people's property, home invasions, neighborhood invasions. Oh, you're not from this area? Okay, I'm from here now. I heard this area's got some food. When the government was, when the food trucks are bringing in their food, they wasn't bringing it to my area that's poorer. They kept bringing it into this area. So now I'm gonna be having to come to you through to your area to get some food. And then even something like that will make some of these people complain. But then it's gonna get to where the people don't even go in there to go to the stores no more. They're going to these areas to go to people's houses, right? So then there's going to become an influx of people that are not from a particular area, all in the area, and they're all saying, I'm not leaving. But some people in that area are going to actually have a house in that area that they live in. So what are the other people going to be doing to be able to stick around that area? They're obviously going to be having to go into people's houses. And these are the scenarios that are going to be happening now. In that time, money ain't going to stop you, be able to get you out of that, because they're not going to want your money. They're going to want to live in your house that you live in. They're going to want whatever you've got in your house. So you're not going to be able to bribe them with money. It's not going to matter that you've got a 10-bedroom house. That's the house that they're going to want to live in. Your money that allowed you to have that 10-bedroom house is going to be the same house that's going to make you be on notice for people wanting to live in there. And that's what some of you people don't understand. Because you've had money for so long and it's allowed you to get one over on people for so long, you've become accustomed to that way, where every single time something happens, you can just use money to manipulate and get your way through. But there comes a time where you can't do that no more, man. There comes a time where, oh no, now you actually have to come with something else. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. In fact, no, let me verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. The course of their actions ain't going to stand in their money. It's going to stand in there. Now, that could play a part of it if you're able to finesse somebody that's so dumb that don't understand that the money thing don't matter no more. But for the most part, it's not going to be going that way. It's going to be going, you do not have what it takes to overcome me. You don't have it. Right? You just don't have what it takes. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. So money bribing is not going to mean nothing, because they're not going to care about your money. It's going to be food that they want. So your money that you have available isn't going to mean nothing in that time. Oh, I'm going to bribe you with this or that. That's not going to mean anything. They're going to want food, right? And they're not going to have the ability to pay for the food. So they're going to want to steal the food, right? The money's not going to mean anything in that time. People will be more happy to find a tin of spaghetti hoops than 1,000, 100,000 pounds in all clean marked, unmarked notes in a suitcase. They ain't going to care about that. They'll be like, what good's that to me? Now, some people might take something like that and like store it somewhere in case things go back to normal in the future. And be like, okay, if it ever goes back to normal, remember, mark this tree and we're going to come back here and get this money. Some people might do that. But the people that are switched on are going to know, listen, man, this don't mean nothing. This means absolutely nothing, this money. It don't mean nothing. This is the world's changed now. And now we need to be focusing on where we can get food. And you rich people are normally people that have never had to deal with anything physical in your life. Usually that's the way it goes. For the average so-called person that's considered wealthy and rich in this world, they've never had to get themselves out of anything physically. They've always used their money to get themselves out of it. But there's going to come a time where the people that have been used to getting themselves out of situations physically are going to stumble upon people that have been used to getting themselves out of things financially. And in that time, who's going to overcome who? In the majority of cases, it's going to be the person that's used to handling things physically that's going to handle the person that's used to handling things financially, because that's the kind of way that the world's going, and it's going to be horrible. Right? I'm not talking this like I'm just going to, the ultimate mate. I'm hoping I'm getting through this through faith in the Lord. I'm not expecting to get through this through being a mighty man. I'm expecting to get through it because I believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and hopefully he has mercy on me to let me get through every single situation I need to get through to get a space in a chariot or get my neck ran through, right, with the guillotine for refusing to take the MOTB and then ended up in a chariot anyway. That's what we're hoping for. Those that are hoping to be of the elect of the nation of Israel. We're not hoping that we're just going to be on a post-apocalyptic warlord. Negan from The Walking Dead, or the governor from The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead, Daryl, Meryl. We ain't hoping to be one of these characters. We're hoping to be people of faith, man. Characters like Denzel Washington from the Book of Eli kind of faith. That Yahweh just guides them through continually so that they make it. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So even if you do have the so-called money, if you can't get to where you could spend it, it's not going to mean nothing anyway. But because of their pride, which a lot of pride comes from having money, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. You're going to be afraid with all that money that you got. It's not going to mean nothing, man. Like some of these people that live in these big tower flats, apartments that you have to have a lot of money to live in those, that's going to be like a big war zone in that time, man. Or apartment 210A and apartment 210B. Well, I know that I've heard them get a food delivery in, so I'm going to knock and ask nicely first. And there's going to be little battles on each floor, man, where there might be floor hierarchy. Or you ain't from this floor, what you doing on this floor? You better go down to your floor, or you better go up to your floor, what you doing on my floor? And they might all team up on one floor and be like, yo, anyone that's not from this floor comes through this floor. It's a thing. It's a situation around here. There's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. A whole bunch. And I even planning on even speaking about how these women are gonna handle it when money don't mean nothing no more. Because women, if there was ever anyone that viewed money as an idol, it's women, right? And as long as women worship money in this world, men will always have power over them. They're all talking about they don't want men to have power over them for this and for that, right? If a man can offer you some money, make you go on a plane to Dubai and do all kind of Nutella procedures on you, on your head, right? Then you're a slave to money, right? And men will always have power over you. But the moment if you want to, if like even if these women wanted to worship money like they do, but was only prepared to worship the money that they can bring for themselves, it wouldn't be as bad. But they worship money to the point of begging, man. Like they're begging with them on money is ridiculous, man. Like the way how these women in this society are begging all the time, it's fascinating. And then they're not even begging for necessity. They're begging for nails to be done. Or they're begging for, like, one of the ways how we're gonna know that this society is falling as well. I can think in my mind. One of the ways we're gonna be able to tell, man, really it's starting to get real hectic down here, is we're gonna start seeing one or two things. Either the average Israelite woman that you're gonna see on a day-to-day is no longer gonna have a weave in their head. Right? They're no longer gonna have a weave in their head and their nails looking all stupid and them stupid, dumb eyelashes, man. That look so dumb. The average Israelite woman that you're going to start seeing is going to have either their natural hair, right? Or them stupid shower curtain things that they have on their head, man. That look so dumb. Like, couldn't they find a better bonnet than that, bro? When you think about it, bro. Couldn't they put a, like, I don't know, man. Couldn't they put something better on their head for the head covering than a shower curtain, bro? A shower curtain, you know. And then even some mans wear those, man. It makes me sick, you know. But we're going to start seeing the average Israelite woman be wearing one of those on her head. Or some kind of head covering. But it's not going to be a head covering because the law says that you're supposed to have one. It's going to be a head covering because underneath that, the hair is looking crazy, fam. That's going to be one of the signs that we're going to know, okay, this society is really crashing. Or there's going to be a whole bunch of women wearing a wig with a New Era NY cap on the top, man. A black New Era cap with either the white logo or the black logo New Era. Yeah. We know all the tricks, man. We know y'all tricks, man. Y'all part of our nation. Y'all are all women of our nation, but we ain't claiming y'all right now, man, because y'all wicked as hell. Yeah. We know the tricks. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and to great tribulation. Now, when I go over onto the next chapter, it's going to speak about some other scenarios where the women are not going to be able to just beg it off for money again, right? And they're going to be crying because their financial aiding is gone, and now it requires something different to be able to get by from day to day, right? So let's read it. This is 2 chapter 16 and verse 33. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And what were all the husbands, the bridegrooms, the helpers, what were they bringing to these women a lot of the time? Money. When you see these women complaining about why they want men, they're not saying, I'll miss men because I want a man to give me his wisdom and his knowledge from his mind. They're not even saying, I miss men because I felt safe around him. When Jamal was around, I felt safe around him. When Brian was around, when Jonathan was around, when Max, when Andy, when, you know what I mean, whatever, Chris, James was around, I felt safe when he was around me. But now that he's gone, I don't feel safe anymore. They're not saying that really. Their complaint is this: I need a man to pay the bills. You know what I mean? I need a man around to pay the bills. Come on, Mr. 50-50. Okay, I'm ready to settle down now. Where the men at that are prepared to pay my bills. I need a strong man. I'm not playing no more talking all this we don't need a man stuff. I need a man to pay my bills. They never when you watch these videos of these women talking all this, then you notice they're never saying anything that they want to do for the man, Never once. Which just shows how little they think of us in this world, A man that's just like a average, and I heard some elders say this, man. So this is not my words, what I'm saying now, but I heard some elders say this before, like a everyday average man that just makes the average salary, just got their like average-ish kind of facial structure and average build. He's viewed as nothing in his world, right? And when women are talking all this, come on, Mr. 50-50, come on, I'm ready to settle down. They're thinking about a sucker that they think's that man. That they just be like, okay, he can just pay all my bills, and then I'm a deal him off some of these funky ass bucks piecemeal when I want to. Maybe once every whatever I decide, right? And after that, fuck him. That's what they're thinking. And then I'm still gonna give it to the Pookie and Ray Ray jigger down the block as well, because he's still selling packs. That's what they're thinking, man. Then when you hear them saying all these things, they're always just thinking about the man as some kind of money bringer. They're never talking about it from a perspective of, I want a man around because he's wisdom and his knowledge, and he's gonna tell me what's happening in the society to get me through. They're thinking, I want a man around to pay for something. I need my nails done. I need my hair done. I can't afford to pay my rent for myself, right? These groceries prices are sky high, right? My money ain't spreading far enough no more. I need a man around to pay for something, which shows that they just think of men as something to pay for them. And that's the kind of way that they think about Yahweh as well. Yahweh is just some man. They basically think of Yahweh as an invisible man that pays for everything, which conveniently is the way they looked at the government checks as well. The government checks that they used to get was an invisible man that secretly pays all their rent and pays all their bills, and they don't even have to give him no box. They were just able to, he's invisible, my invisible sugar daddy, that pays for everything for me, but pretends like he ain't paying for it, so that I can sit back and say I'm strong and independent. You see what I mean? He pays everything in my life so that I can sit back and say I'm strong and independent. I'm strong and independent, and he'll never admit that he's paying for it. They thought that men were just some clowns that are just in on, and that's why when you even hear them running their mouth talking, a man's supposed to be a provider and a protector, but they don't really care about no protection. And as far as the protection thing goes as well, they don't think, you know what, I should act civilized so that the man doesn't have to protect me as much. No, they're like, when Yahweh Shai was in the scenario when he was fighting against Satan, and Satan said to him, jump down from off this cliff, right? Yahweh Shai said, don't tempt the Lord, right? But these women, when they're thinking about a man being their protector, they'll try and put the man in scenarios to protect. They won't be like, I'm just going to live normally and righteous, and then if the man has to protect, then he'll protect me. No, they'll be the one that's being an asshole and try and think they can try and buoy men off because they've got a man that's a big brolic demon that they know is prepared to get carnal. I was watching one video where it was some guy recording nightlife or whatever, and there was two men arguing, walking down the street, yeah? And it was clear that they was about to have a fight. And then the woman was walking with her man in the background, right? And then the man saw that the two geezers was arguing, and then he grabbed his woman's arm and tried to pull her closer to him so that they could walk around the argument. This dumb idiot woman shook his arm off and walked directly right through the middle of the argument. She walked directly right through the middle of the argument where these men are waving their hands in each other's face, arguing with each other. She walked right directly through the middle of the argument. Then the man ended up walking right through it as well, then copying and following her. And then she looked back at the guy, all simple as hell, right? And when I was thinking about it, she was really trying to get her man into a fight, man, being a fucking asshole. And there's plenty of women in this world that do stuff like that. They'll be walking down the street with them, man. Another man will be approaching by himself or with his woman, and that woman tries to now stiffen up herself and not move out of the way 1 centimeter to the left or the right. Like, that's one thing that I've noticed about a lot of these women in this society, you know. They don't ever want to move out of the way when walking on the street. And it's the same thing when they're driving cars as well. They'll be some of the time, a lot of the time, the least likely one to try and let you cross into the aisle some of the time as well, man. If you're trying to merge into the motorway, a lot of the time, some of these women will speed up to not allow you onto the motorway. Like, there's demons. But in the day of the Lord, anyway, a lot of them are gonna get judged because a lot of these men that used to be paying for everything in their life, they're simps. So they're gonna be simping, saying, I'm gonna go and fight this war so that my women don't have to fight in no war, because I don't think women should have to be in the military. I think they should be having to fight, mate. According to the law, they're not supposed to. But for these women right now, they're gonna have to fight in the wars too, man. That's what I think. I'm down with them having to fight and have to dodge grenades as well, like everyone else, man. Because they're equal, right? So equal gets equal things, man. But some of these men that are simps, they're going to be like, nah, the women shouldn't have to fight. So they're going to join the wars. They're going to want to fight, man. Now, let's go verse 34. In the wars, shall their bridegrooms be destroyed? Because they're going to be like, we're going to fight for our women's freedoms. But in doing that, and some of these women are going to be like, yeah, go fight for our freedoms. And then now their protector that they would have had, that would have been close by, he's going to be destroyed. But they're going to want these men to go and fight in the wars because they're not going to want to fight in them. So they're going to be like, yeah, send them. Yeah, you should go, honey. And stupidly, because they think selfishly, thinking, but if we don't fight, if the men don't fight, then that's going to mean that more of us women are going to be expected to fight. So the more men that are prepared to fight, the less likely chance that there's going to be other women. So yeah, okay, if that's the decision you want to make, honey, you go ahead and do it. Because she's selfishly thinking about how she don't want to fight, right? But then those same men that go and decide that they're going to want to fight in these upcoming wars are going to get destroyed easily too, quick, fast. So then these women are not going to have them same men that would have protected them in the country that they're from. They're not going to have them. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone away, man. They're not going to be alive anymore. And these women will get over it. Like, I was watching the movie Bushwick, right? And it wasn't even 2 minutes into the movie after that woman's boyfriend had been absolutely burnt with fire. It wasn't even 2 minutes after that she'd stopped mourning, because she didn't have the time to mourn. And she literally, when I think back to the movie, I don't think she ever mentioned him again. After he'd been burnt and she met Dave Bautista's character, she never mentioned him again. I don't think she even mentioned him to Dave Bautista's character. She'd already moved on. She's like, yo, well, that guy was all right for when I was wanting a guy to pay for my life, and he was kind of good in a money career. But this Dave Bautista guy, he's 6'5" and he's about 260 plus pounds. So I'm all right with him. And she didn't care. He was telling her, go away, don't follow me. And she still followed him. You know what I mean? She still followed him, man. Please help me and all this. Verse 34, in the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Because some of these men are going to try and be, oh, you eat first, babes. You eat first and I'll eat last. So you eat first. The women and children eat first. Some of these guys are going to be on all that. Or you eat first, babes. Yeah, I'll eat less because you eat first, yeah? And the women are gonna do it as well. They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, I'll eat first. They're not gonna be like, you know what? No, you should actually eat first, because you're the strength of this group now. You're the protector. You eat first. You're a man. You require more food than us, so you eat first. They're gonna be like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna eat first. I'm thinking about my survival. Women first. Women and children first. National Women's Day. It's already become blatantly obvious how selfish women are in this world, man. It's selfish, bro. Selfish. And they think that everyone's supposed to worship their glutes and their chest and their face and their online avatar social media version that don't look nothing like what they really look like in real life. And that they view a man as a provider and protector, right? But they don't think that they have to provide anything for him. They got all these rules on what they think a man's supposed to and what a real man's supposed to do. and all that, yeah. But you'll notice that the same women that say these things, if you say, okay, what is a woman supposed to do for a man in life? What is a woman supposed to do for a man? They ain't got nothing to say. They think that all men, whether the women know them or not, are supposed to make women feel comfortable, women feel this, women feel that in this world. But what about what women are supposed to do in this world? Are women supposed to have manners towards men that they don't know in this world in case he spazzes out and goes upside their head? They were like, nah, I don't owe him nothing. Are women supposed to tell another woman if she's arguing with a man in public, yo, you better watch out? Because if he starts growling, he might smack the shit out of you. They were like, nah, I don't owe him nothing. I don't know him. Like, women will never, if they see a woman arguing with a man in the street, tell that woman, yo, shut your mouth, man. That's a man you're talking to, you know. Watch your mouth. They'll never say that. I've never seen that happen on the internet or in real life. Never. They'll laugh that she's running their mouth. Because that's what they'd want to be able to do to their man. Or that's what they would hope or they're thinking about doing to their man one day. And whenever women see women acting crazy in this world, instead of actually checking them and telling them, yo, shut the fuck up, man, they sit back, see how the situation plans out and plays out, I mean, and then they're like, oh, so she didn't actually get judged like really she deserved to get. So I might use that weapon. I might use that one in the future. I might do that in the future and see if I can get away with it. That's how they think, man. And they're going to be some of the most affected by a society that no longer rules off money. They're going to be some of the ones that are going to be heavily affected when it's no longer about money, because they're able to, through men wanting to sleep with them, able to use that whole money thing. For a man hoping to be able to sleep with them or actually sleeping with them, they're able to get money. Through men lusting after them, they're able to get money. But in the time to come, that's not going to be, they're not going to have no power over that no more. Because if a man sees them and has lust in him, unfortunately for you wicked women out there, it's going to be according to whether a man has power or not to do whatever they think to do. And let that mean to you whatever you think it means, man. Right? And there's many things that's come into this world where you people are going to be getting judged. In fact, let me get this scripture. There's many things where the money's not going to mean anything anymore, man. It's not going to mean nothing. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 18. Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Verse 17. I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. As for gold, they shall not delight in it, because people ain't going to be caring about no money, man. These other armies of these other countries, they ain't going to care about no money. The money will be able to get taken once they win the battle. That's what they're going to think in their mind. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to get burnt down, man. And for all you people that are trusting in money still, right, I don't think you actually truly understand how little value the money is going to have in the time to come, man. And I'm going to say, Shalom to the elect, to the nation of Israel, Shalom.